Yeah, welcome everyone. It's kind of crazy to think it's October now, but really glad to see all these faces joining us today. Yeah, I'm glad as we get later in the season here. Knock on wood, I don't want to say too much yet, but things are beginning to maybe calm down a little bit. I know no one's relaxing yet, but yeah, really glad to see more folks are able to show up to the meetings here. So welcome to those we have been seeing, those we haven't seen in a while, and to all the new faces too. This is having a good turnout today. So yeah, let's see. Actually, I want to, can you guys hear me all right for one? I think I see some.
Yep.
It sounds like you can hear. Okay, perfect. Let me know. My computer just started making some weird noises, so we will see. But yeah, I wanted to just start off today with a small announcement, actually. Some of you might know already, and some probably don't. Excuse me, but Janine Upton, she's been our admin assistant here at the Fire Safe Council. And she's been a great help in keeping us organized and keeping some of our residential projects moving along. Janine resigned a couple weeks ago. And while I'm really sad to see her go, we wish her all the best in what is now her full retirement. So so I just want to let you guys know and say thank you to Janine if you happen to run into her at all. It's been great having her, and we wish her all the best. But then also that now means that we do have, Fire Safe Council does have an open position to fill. And the board and I are going to talk about that later today, about exactly what that'll look like. And, you know, we might change the position a little bit with this opportunity, but just want to let you all know in case you know anyone who might be interested in supporting the Fire Safe Council and that kind of an admin and project coordinator kind of role. So I just want to make that announcement up front today, since you might notice that Janine isn't on the call today, and that is why. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into the agenda. Let me, well, gosh, I was gonna try to share my screen so we could all look at it together. I'm not sure why. Oh, there we go. Share screen button is there. Promise I can get the technology to work. All right. So for those of you who can see the screen, do we have any adjustments or additions to the agenda today? Any partners who I missed on there who would like to share a report out with the group? Go ahead and speak up now. Nobody? All right. Let me
This is Ronnie.
Oh.
I just wanted to announce that there'll be a public notice. There's a public notice that just went out for a wildfire mitigation rulemaking project. It's a pre-notice public discussion, and I can circulate that after the meeting. So whoever wants to attend that, it's an open meeting to discuss regulations for having insurers acknowledge any mitigation work that's done for people to get credit on their insurance policies and maybe not be canceled so much.
That would be great. Yeah, thanks, Ronnie. Yeah, we'd be happy to share that out. Yeah. All right. Great. Well, next, yeah, that was a great segue into public comment. So thanks, Ronnie. Anyone else have comments, announcements that we don't have up here on the agenda? Now's your time to speak up. You got something?
Yep. I'm just going to do a quick intro. John Stone. I'm the new planner here at Yuba County Office of Emergency Services. Just got on in August. You'll be seeing my face. If anyone didn't know, Brianna had her baby 2 months early, so she's gone. Her and the baby are doing well though. So you know, anything for the time being, you'll just be seeing me around. And then quick background. I was in the Marines, worked for a long time for the U.S. State Department. and then left that, paid for grad school by being a wildland firefighter for the Forest Service, and mostly South Ops. So I've never been this far north until August. So glad to be here, and real nice area, and it's a pleasure to meet all of you.
Great, thanks, John. Yeah, great to meet you. Or we've talked before, but yeah, great to have you
You
here.
and I have talked a little bit.
Yeah. Awesome. Anyone else on public comments? All righty, hearing none, let's move on to our partner reports. I think I see Jason here from the Plumas. You're ready to jump on in, go for it.
Hey, good morning. Can you hear me all right?
Yes, I'm clear.
Allison, I'll be sharing something too with us. So
Okay.
sometimes it gets blocked or whatever.
Yeah, let me give you, hang on. What is happening here?
I guess I haven't asked for it
I
yet.
was gonna say, it looks different than normal. Why don't you just try and see if it works? If not, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, it says it's disabled right now.
Okay, that's good. Advanced sharing options. Oh, here we go. Yep, they changed what it looks like on me. Try that now.
There we go. It'll give me the option. Thank you.
Yep.
Good morning, everybody. Thanks, Allison. Jason Vermillion with Plumas National Forest on the Feather River District. Today we have Eric Kaplan as well. He works in the fuels management shop also. We work together on this quarter of a, well, million-acre forest, but we've only got a third of an acre to maintain and manage. Anyways, good morning. What is happening with the Plumas? We'll start off with Dixie Fire. Right now, the Dixie Fire still sits at 963,000 acres, 94% contained with roughly 1,200 personnel still on it. Ramped down from, we're talking 3 weeks ago with probably 6,000 firefighters and personnel on that incident. Yeah, one of the biggest fires I've ever helped support and be part of, and another just unprecedented fire season that we haven't quite finished yet, but we've definitely put another notch on the belt for biggest, most destructive. Here we are again. Yeah, as far as what the Dixie Fire is doing, gang, is they've just recently they sustained a few high winds, and so things are still being with personnel on it. The main focus is mop up, is suppression repair.
Jason, I don't know if it's just me or if it's you. There we go.
Yeah.
We got
Can
you.
you hear me still? Sorry about that.
Yeah, now we can.
One of our, anyways, to get to the point is, we still have folks on it. It's still a tremendous effort of work taking place out there, as well as, again, fire suppression repair all through the communities. This is another just example of the unprecedented fires that we're dealing with, in our communities, in our forested communities. And, what are we doing about it? And it's, Gabe will probably speak to it as well as Eric, but I mean, you know, it's, yeah, we're just doing what we can. I mean, just all the effort that, you know, all my peers and firefighters that I know that were part of the Dixie Fire and its suppression efforts, you know, it was, folks, they had, you know, such a hard time of, you know, trying to stop this fire, trying to contain it. You know, spot fires that would get off control lines when they were prepping or burning, you know, that wouldn't go for 10 acres, that they'd go for 5,000 acres. I mean, this fire was just something else. The fuels conditions, the, you know, weather that supported it, you know, all this ground hadn't been disturbed in, you know, 100 years, you know, other than a few natural events and some of the events that we try to do as far as commercial thinning and or burning, you know, was it enough? You know, it's not enough, you know, and it goes back to the effort of, you know, the just that we try with what we got in doing large landscape treatments and trying to make, you know, our community safe. I think that's the biggest effort that you know we really want to do. We do want healthy forests, but I mean it's our communities that we're surrounded by that we want to make an impact with, make them safe. You know, it's something that we're all working hard to do. You know, with that, I'll move on because there's a lot going on. But you know, Dixie Fire is wrapping up, but again, going into suppression repair and cleanup, and there's so much to access. You know, more new towns and sit in small forested communities that have been destroyed. That, you know, still trying to wrap the effects of that up and see exactly what's been destroyed. You know, on top of, we're also working on North Complex from last year, you know, and that suppression repair and in those efforts. One thing we were able, we had a few distinguished guests come to our district and forest recently over the summer with myself and James Lico, our division chief for the district. We met with our regional forester twice on and our chief of the Forest Service. They came up to Brush Creek Work Center, which got impacted heavily last year with the North Complex. And you know, 3 times I listened to James recount September 8th events of last year, and you know, just the North Complex fire and how that moved down and all the hundreds of people that they were able to safely evacuate that would have been, you know, unfortunately probably been killed in the Feather Falls and Brush Creek areas from last year. We moved slow, but the point is that we're able to talk to our regional forester and the chief of the Forest Service now, Randy Moore, and show them videos of that night and show them, you know, this isn't an isolated event. This is a unprecedented culmination of many things and many years of lack of treatment and lack of prevention and lack of, you know, what have you. So they're tough moments to live through, you know, again and again, and talk about that evening as well as what's going on, you know, currently around us. Those meetings were tough because we were still, you know, still dealing with Greenville getting burned down while we're talking about Brush Creek last year. So, I mean, it's still powerful to me. It's still emotional to work through these things. However, it gave us an opportunity to show, you know, our leaders of the Forest Service, you know, literally the chief of the Forest Service, what's going on. And it's not just a California event, you know, it's, again, it gets everywhere. Moving on from that. So, I mean, that big, powerful stuff, again, and what are we doing on the district? You know, we're slowly moving forward with repair and mainly in infrastructure areas that, you know, we were able to get successful timber sales out of. Feather Falls area is one location. Brush Creek is the center of a location that we have a timber sales, salvage, you know, debt cleanup, hazard tree removal, all the stuff that the Dixie Fire is going to go through next year. You know, roughly 500,000 acres on the Psas National Forest burnt up this year, 200,000 last year. So I mean, quite a bit of the Psas has been affected by fire. One thing the chief asked us to do is pass on an idea. You know, they were asking us there at Brush Creek, you know, what are some innovative ideas to get these hazard trees down and deal with the effects of these high severity fires? I mean, just to go back to the North Complex, I mean, of the 200,000 acres that burnt last year, 70,000 could probably be successfully salvaged and put to good use for, you know, a product somewhere. So the chief has asked us, and I want to pass the word too. I mean, if we've got some innovative ideas on what to do with some of these, you know, thousands of acres of, you know, high severity to moderate severity timber that we can have a place for it to go, we're interested. You know, and it's not like we don't have ideas, or, you know, we come up with solutions daily, but I mean, sometimes the best solution comes from somebody sitting outside and looking in and saying, why don't you try this or whatnot. With that, that out of the way, let's end on my report on a positive anyways. Is one thing we were able to do, stand by, is, what screen am I on? This one. Okay. I know it takes a second, but we'll get it up here. Dixie. Oh yeah. All right. Get over here. Not that. Not that. Okay, so CCI and the grant that we had, that we have with the Forest Service has with Yuba Water Agency, Chai Company, SBI, former SOPR areas, man, and some other great cooperators that went in on some of this. We were able to, part of our grant opportunity was to get some, and I call it emergency and evacuation egress, where in the roughly 1,200, 1,500 acres of treatment areas, identified some roads that surround the town of Challenge, you know, where my project is centered, that we were able to the roads that haven't been improved in a long time, and for, you know, ATVers, or this is not the intent for, you know, folks to enjoy themselves. And for me, it was, let's improve these roads so that we can get fire equipment in and out. And if the public needs a place to evacuate, we can get them out of there. So with some of that, we have getting ready to submit some work. But I mean, some of these roads behind Challenge, you know, you could barely get a fire engine through, where we are able to brush and then grade and then really get an impact that, you know, to make these areas a little better to get through. Can everybody see these?
Yeah, we got it.
Gotcha. And it could, yeah, and my internet's a little slow, so bear with me. But I'll just show a couple of, you know, some areas that, you know, I don't think most fire resources would want to come down some of these roads that we have. And, you know, this is right next to our community challenge, and it's just like, I can't stand by and not do anything about this. So, I mean, I'm really thankful for this grant that we're working on, and we're able to do some much needed work, you know, and this isn't, yeah, it's a one-time deal that we got in there, but you know what, for me, it's just like, let's just keep going. Let's make this a semi-annual thing, if not an annual thing. Let's keep these roads open for the purpose of egress and emergency evacuation. So anyways, yeah, one of the things we've been definitely working on out there, and excited to see this work done. Some great work done by Moortown Rancheria. They've been the lead contractor for us, and they're really developing into a good fuels reduction partner with us. So anyways, I'll end on that and pause for if anybody has some questions or anything. I know Eric Kaplan has a few things that he's going to update us on, but any questions for me so far?
Just to say thank you, Jason, for you've obviously been busy, so thanks for all the work. Awesome.
Go ahead, Eric. I know you may have a couple things to update us with.
Yeah. Thanks, Jason. Yeah, just a few things. So I think I'll start with, let's start with Trex. So I don't know if you all are familiar with the Trex program, Prescribed Fire Training Exchange. The Plumas has been involved with that program for the last few years. Typically, it seems like it's been run out of Plumas County, although we have done some work with them in Butte County. We did some burning with them actually in the Brush Creek area, and anecdotally, I think it actually may have had some minimal impacts, actually mitigated fire behavior when a North Complex blew through there, which is kind of amazing, but just on a small scale. Anyway, they are coming back, and so we're in the planning stages of doing another Trex event, and this is definitely the largest one that the Plumas is going to be involved with, and this one is based out of Butte County, so it's going to be based out of the Ecological Reserve there up out of Chico, and we have over 100 people, like something like 110 people have signed up to be trained to become, practitioners of prescribed fire, either, through their, maybe if they're associated with an organization or agency, local government agency, something like that, or, a lot of landowners. So that's very cool that we're going to be able to do that. And that's, working with a variety of partners, including, CAL FIRE with Gus Boston up there, Butte County, Butte unit. So that's coming up. The first training date is in 10 days, and then it's just basically going to be an on-call thing throughout the fall. Probably going, I don't know, until the holidays or something like that. And whenever we get a window, we'll try to do some burning all over the place. Including Tehama, Butte, Plumas, and possibly parts of Yuba County, especially that area where Jason's talking about, that same area, which is something that we've been, focusing on, obviously, that challenge corridor area. So moving on from Trex, we have, as far as our just agency burning that we have planned, we have a lot of pile burning that's coming up when we get the opportunity. We're going to need a significant amount of precipitation to get going on that. But once that happens, we'll try to put the hammer down and get that done. And so there's a pile project that Moortown Rancheria has also been involved with or been doing there, kind of by the Challenge School, Dry Creek area, along a roadside there. So we'll hit that. Some big landing piles in other locations, including up towards Woodleaf and in different areas. And then we've been doing agency mastication in the area of, around Forbstown. So behind the Forbstown store, behind the Forbstown store, actually, we did some handcuff pile. And then up by Sunset Lookout, we've been doing quite a bit of mastication with that kind of ties in also with some timber harvesting, that thinning that went along in there. And that's, it's basically Butte Yuba County line in there. So that's coming up. And then as far as like fuels conditions right now, it's still definitely fire season. You know, it's cooler obviously, and even had a little shot of rain here in Orville today. But the last fuel sample I took, which is, we have a sampling site that's kind of across LaPorte Road from where you take off to go to the Pike County Lookout. And we cut manzanita there and take cookies off of ponderosa pine logs. And you know, the brush is still in dormancy, so it's right above the critical moisture level. And the 1,000-hour, the logs, big dead fuel, is below, you know, across the board. Pretty much all the other sites that I look at they're all below 10%. Now ours was about 6.5%, so it's very, very low. You know, through most of the summer and early like into late summer, it was hovering like under 5%, down to like 2.5%, like just bone dry, and it hasn't really recovered very much. So you need significantly more rain to take the edge off that, especially with the winds that we've been having. But that's all from me. End of report. It's nice to be here. It's been a while.
Yeah, thanks, Eric. That's I don't know, scary to hear the fuel moisture, but not surprising. So one question I have on the Trex event is that if we have any folks here who are interested in participating in something like that, is this one closed already, or can people still join in?
I think at this point it is. I think they kind of hit their, I think in fact they had a lower cap on what they wanted the you know, the top, or the number of students, I guess you put it, to be, and they even exceeded that and said they're getting so many people that they increased it. But you know, it's not just like yearly. I mean, this is right now it's biannual. So and with it, you know, with increasing capacity, you know, I think we should look at, you know, doing something like that, especially if we could partner with the Tahoe or something like that, since we straddle that line with them. But yeah, this one is pretty much set.
Perfect. That's what I figured, but yeah, yeah, maybe we can think about something else in the future. So awesome. Well, thank you, Eric and Jason. There are no questions for them. Let's move on to the Tahoe. I think I saw Gabe on here. I think he's loading up. There we go.
Howdy, folks. Everybody hear me?
Yep, loud and clear.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Gabe Foster with the Tahoe National Forest. I'm the district fuels specialist on the North Yuba side, working in Yuba County, Sierra County, Nevada County up in there. Yeah, so Eric and Jason, all good stuff there. You know, a lot of what I got is kind of repeating some of what you guys were saying. Obviously, a very busy fire season for everybody. I don't think I've been on a call since June or July, so it's nice to see everybody back again and trying to get back into the fuel stuff. And it was a lot of suppression for the summer, so it's definitely the time to change seasons back. But like Eric was just saying, you know, speaking for our fuel moistures, we're pretty much in the same boat. Everything's still well below average. Our you know, our 1,000 hours and larger fuels are still sitting in that 8 to 10% range. Last time we took samples, manzanita is still in dormancy, just sitting right above critical. And you know, we're still in a staffing level of 5 almost daily right now. So we're sort of straddling these wet, cooler days with, you know, breezy north wind events that put us back right up into high danger. We just came off one where we were doing 24-hour staffing from Monday through Tuesday. And then today's kind of a reprieve, and then we're back into a high wind event coming in Thursday, Friday. See the sort of staffing patterns we do there. So yeah, everybody's still in suppression mode. You know, we just had a little fire up in North San Juan, and there's still a few little, the valley's obviously been popping off a lot of stuff. That's still the main focus. But with that being said, we are, you know, continuing to assess all of our burn windows. You know, hoping that we get a chance here if we continue to get some precipitation. Most of our stuff this year is based up kind of in the high country Yuba Pass area. So we've got two units up there, one about 600, 700 acres and one about 1,200 acres that we're going to hopefully get a chance to burn at least some of it this season or next spring. So that's kind of where the main focus is at. And then as conditions allow, we do have some pile units. There's a few to clean up in the Pendola Garden Valley area. There's about 90 acres or so left out there in Garden Valley. So we'll try to move out there as soon as we can, as soon as conditions allow. And then as far as ongoing fuels work, hopefully as soon as October 15th, we're hoping to start work on hand pile work around Garden Valley. And then also down in the Pendola Garden Point hardwood culturing area. Total, it's about 400 acres plus a hand pile. So as soon as the contract is finalized, then they'll start work there. And it sounds like it could be as soon as October 15th, but we'll see. And then as far as the rest of the district, we're continuing to work a lot on the North Yuba landscape project. Sort of our first two projects that we're trying to get finalized would be, you know, based around Downeyville. They're called the Galloway Project and Rattlesnake Skinner Project. I'm sure a lot of you are aware of those, but so it's, you know, over 25,000 acres, and we're trying to come up with our survey and prep and layout procedures, how we're going to go about getting that much acreage done and prepped and ready to go. You know, the goal is to have it done by September of 23. So it's a pretty compressed timeline for that amount of acreage. So we're coming up with the plan of attack on that. You know, and then that kind of leads into some of what Vern was saying. You know, the primary concern, and you know, we need to come up with some creative solutions as to how to get this material off the land. You know, as we've got well over 1 million acres of black trees this year that are gonna take precedent over the green trees that we're trying to take off the landscape as well. So, you know, trying to come up with some solutions for that. I don't think there's anything simple, obviously, as far as solution wise, but you know, it's nice to hear that the chief was out there looking at the situation, which I'm sure he's well aware of before, but it's, you know, to get him out there and see that these are not isolated situations, and that, you know, it truly is a national emergency, and it needs to be treated as such, to, you know, create an infrastructure to be able to be at capacity for what we actually need to do on the land and what we're trying to do on the land to sort of get ahead of this. So that's just sort of my little rant there to back up what Vern was saying. And I'm sure all of you are well aware, but just so you guys kind of know where we're at. I think that's all I got. If anybody's got any questions.
Any questions for Gabe? Great, well, thanks, Gabe. And I know you and I have talked about biomass before and CCP's plant coming up, and
Oh yeah.
yeah, that's, you know, that project has had its own challenges coming along, but we have a little report out later. We can talk about that, but that can be, yeah, one part of the puzzle. But
Yep, absolutely. And now that I'm back in the fuels world, we'll reconnect on all that.
Sounds good. Awesome. All righty. Thanks again, Gabe, and everyone at Forest Service. Let's move on in the agenda. Next up, we have CAL FIRE. Rob, if you want to jump on in.
Hi, good morning.
Morning.
So locally, things seem to be calming down a little bit. Statewide, we don't really have any major CAL FIRE incidents going right now. I think the only thing going really statewide is there's one that's down in Santa Barbara, the Alicia fire or something like that. OES sent a bunch of stuff down there yesterday, but we haven't sent anything from the CAL FIRE side locally. I think some of the South Division or units have sent some stuff down there. Here, like I said, things are slowing down for large incidents. The last couple of days have actually been kind of busy. We had some activity with this wind. Everything's sort of checked up and been held fairly small, except yesterday we had about 60 acres run through Beale, kind of through their housing, base housing. No structures were damaged or anything, but with that wind, it was just ripping through there. So all the rain that we got, or the small rain that we got, it's dried up, it's gone. So that's a concern for us. With that, we are starting a Facebook campaign called Don't Fall For It. So we're just trying to let people know that with the cooler weather and a little bit of rain, we're not out of the woods yet. There's still a lot of fire season ahead of us. Fuels are still critically dry, like they were saying up on the forest side. So we are not out of danger yet. So we still need to be diligent about getting that messaging out. That's why we're not going to lift any burning restrictions anytime soon. Staffing wise, we're still at peak staffing. We have all our engines are fully staffed. The air base is staffed with the tankers. In our unit, we had an exclusive use contract for a helicopter that we usually don't have. That exclusive use contract is 90 days and ends next week. We'll have them available CWN so we can upstaff them for wind events or whatever, but they won't be at the Auburn base on a daily basis. Some of the other units north of us, like say Humboldt or up in Beaver and in Lassen Modoc, if those units start getting a lot of rain and start coming out of fire season, we have the ability to move their helicopter closer, maybe put that in Auburn or Grass Valley. So we have some options available to keep an aircraft, a helicopter locally. Kind of just have to see how that plays out. See here. We do have a few prescribed burns and VMPs kind of in the works along the American River and then in Nevada County. The biggest one that we have that would affect us in Yuba County is over in the Richards Ranch area. We're getting pretty close to having that complete and being ready to go. But we're not going to do any kind of burning piles, VMPs otherwise until we lift burn restrictions. We don't really feel like we can go out and burn. We're telling people that they can't. So we're putting all that kind of stuff on hold for now. Up at Oregon Peak Lookout, we're going to do a little work up there, try to get some repairs done and have that on our fuels crews, radar this winter, do a little more clearing and stuff up there. And the volunteers are doing a really good job keeping that thing staffed and up and running. And really that's kind of it for us. We're trying to regroup from a busy summer and get everything rehabbed and ready to go for round 2 if it comes. And if there's any questions, that's all I have.
This is Ronnie. I was wondering if there's any forecasts about for either the federal or the state forecast for what the fall is going to look like, and whether it's an El Nino year that's coming ahead for the future. What does the
yeah, we've heard I don't remember El Nino, La Nina, and they said that there's some monsoonal moisture And if it comes kind of one way, it's going to rain a lot. And if it kind of comes a little bit different way, it won't. So basically what we're getting is it's either going to rain or it's not going to rain. So that's typical weather forecasting that we get, I think. So we'll have to wait and see. I don't put a lot of stock into anything more than a week or two out. So who knows the way the climate's been lately.
And I would just add that the forecasts that Northern Operations has been putting out from late summer on have been very consistent, that the end of the significantly above average fire potential is like December 1st. So they don't seem to think that we're gonna get a real pattern change in the near term at all.
Alrighty, well, if there are no more questions, thanks so much, Rob. Thanks again for everything you do. All right, moving on in the agenda. Next up, we have Mike Lee from Yuba County. Okay, I saw you on here. Yeah, there we go. Hi, Mike.
Good
Welcome.
morning. Good morning, gang.
Morning.
So we got a couple updates on our end. First, we have looks like we're going to be successful on a $500,000 grant through HCD through their disaster recovery program. I think as a result of the I'm not sure which incident it was a result of, actually, quite frankly, I can't remember. But it seems like we have so many over the last handful of years, it's hard to keep up. But so the funding opportunity was available, and we threw our hat in the ring. It looks like we're going to get funding for that. And let me pull up my list here. So we propose to treat about 46 miles of roadways for the roadside clearing to help with provide fire breaks and ingress egress for firefighters and evacuees. I'll quickly name off some of the roads that we're trying to hit: Baker Road, Youngs Hill, LaPorte Road, Marysville Road, Frenchtown Dobbins, Frenchtown Road, Oregon Hill, Mountain House, Challenge Cutoff, Indiana Ranch, Indiana School, Pendola, and Cleveland. So that's exciting. Over the years, we've been successful at getting different grants, enough to keep this program going. And so we just completed our last grant recently, and now it looks like we're going to have another one to keep things moving, keep making progress. Additionally, yesterday, the county administrator did a presentation to the Board of Supervisors with proposed expenditure plan for Measure K revenues. And for those of you who don't know, Measure K was a 1-cent sales tax adopted by the voters about 2 years ago, I think, for the unincorporated areas of Yuba County. That it went through the courts, and that was recently settled that it is a legit tax. And so those revenues that have been piling up can now be allocated out. So one of the proposals, the county administrator is proposing to the board to fund our fire prevention officer position in community development here, using those revenues, as well as throwing additional funds toward our roadside clearing program. I don't have specifics on the amount of funds that will be coming our way for that, but that was one of the priorities that was outlined to the board, and the board supported. So soon we should have some more details on the dollar signs associated with that. So we're gonna have, lots of roadside clearing work in the near, coming up over the next year or two, and keep our crews more than busy. But good news there. Lastly, I guess I'll just throw out for the good of the group, and I don't know if it will have any importance or impact, but I know a couple gentlemen mentioned what to do with all these burned trees. So recently we did have a proposal from a group, and I don't have their name off the top of my head, but they're proposing on Hamilton Road out near the gold fields, like a log processing facility where they're going to debark the trees and then cut them in certain lengths, throw them in containers, and then they're going to ship them off to China. So again, I don't know if that will provide any opportunities or not, but just so you're aware that that's in the works. I'm happy to answer any questions if there are any.
One question from me, Jesse Golden. Hi, Mike. I had a distraction during part of what you said. I just wanted to clarify or make sure I understood. The roads you mentioned were roadside clearing of burnable fuels. Is that it?
Yes.
Okay. And this group proposing for burnt trees, how could I learn more about that? I'm curious or hopeful it won't impact what is coming up with the Biomass Energy Center in Camdenville, but it sounds like it's something they can do now, whereas that center isn't built yet. But how can I learn more about that?
Yeah, through our the planning department here, we can get more specifics if you want. The project's not hasn't been implemented yet, but I know they've been in meeting with us and talking, and so I don't know if they've given it a thumbs up that they're proceeding or not, but it sounded somewhat promising, like they may be.
Yeah. Okay. I guess I'll pass it on to Kathy LeBlanc. She'll probably want to know more, and we'll send a question to you.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay. Any other questions? Yeah, thanks, Mike. That's all really great news. Yeah, and we should touch base about the roads too. The Fire Safe Council has a small amount of funds for roadside clearing right now, so I want to make sure we're not looking at the same roads.
Absolutely, yeah. We need to stay in close coordination on that.
Absolutely. Yeah, we can connect offline, but one other question: do you have any updates on that fire prevention officer position? I know you guys
yeah, we did a recruitment, and I think there was one application we received that looked pretty promising, but then as we were trying to schedule interviews, that particular person withdrew their application. So I don't know what, why, or when, or how, but that's what happened.
Sure.
So we'll go at it again, try to find the right individual.
Great. Well, that would be great. Have that extra person on. All right, any other questions for Mike?
And I'm not sure if Wes is on the line here or not. I think he was going to do. I think he's on the agenda here, but was going to do a brief report out on that CSA 2 roadside clearing project.
Okay. I did see before we move on to that, Rob has his hand raised.
Yeah, I just one of the projects we've been trying to do for a while is County Road 270. It's we've been kind of just hitting our head against the wall trying to get some clearing done there. It's the one that goes from Marysville Road along the edge of Collins Lake.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
So that road, there's not a lot of houses back in there, so it seems to not get a lot of attention. But like access for us, that's a really strategic area. If we could get some work done there, that would be really beneficial. If a fire started in the Collins Lake area or was running up that way towards Oregon House, Regent Way, that kind of area, that would be a good strategic place for us to be able to get access to, and it's really overgrown. So I just wanted to get that on someone's radar.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, maybe that can be one of the first areas we hit with the Measure K funds.
Okay.
All right. Don't see any other questions popping up. Yeah, Wes was going to make it from Public Works, but I don't see him on here.
Might be on the, he might be by phone. I don't know. Wes, are you out there?
There's a phone.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's you, Wes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. I wasn't sure.
Yes.
Awesome. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, I'll get right on it. I'll get right on it. Hello, everybody. I'm Wes Knott, Yuba County Public Works. The subject's going to be community service areas. We had a memorandum of understanding with Yuba Watershed Protection and Fire Safe Council and Yuba County Public Works. A little background. On September 17, 2020, Yuba County Public Works and the Yuba Watershed Protection Fire Safe Council executed a memorandum of understanding for roadside brush and vegetation removal in CSA number 2. The County of Yuba was responsible for managing and supervising road improvements, including fuel reduction and work done within CSA number 2. The Yuba Watershed Protection and Fire Safe Council committed to cost share 75% of the actual expense incurred by CSA number 2 for roadside brush and vegetation removal per contract number 2020-0201. The contract provided fire roadside treatment of approximately 2.5 miles along Regent Way from Rice's Crossing to the southern boundary of CSA number 2. The County of Yuba solicited quotes for this project. The apparent low bidder, John Beran Custom Logging, quoted $19,350, received the contract and completed the work on November 6, 2020. We followed up the completed brush clearing project with weed abatement, all seasons tree and turf care, applied long-lasting pre and post-emergent herbicides along the roadside shoulder, 10 feet wide for 2.5 miles. Weed abatement was not included in the Fire Safe Council memorandum. Discussion: the County of Yuba Public Works would like to partner with Yuba Watershed Protection Fire Safe Council in future county service area projects. Any questions? Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Wes. Yeah, I'll admit that project was before my time, before I jumped on, but I have heard great things about that, the CSA too, and we would love to continue to work with you guys. There is always a lot of work to be done, as we all know. So yeah, any questions for Wes? All right. Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Wes. Glad you could be here and let us know a little about that project. Yeah, we can touch base soon about future projects. So
yeah,
that's great. All righty.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Let's see. Next up on the agenda is the Oregon Peak Lookout Tower program, and Gary and Beverly couldn't be here today. They are off on vacation, but Gary gave me a little something to read real quick for the on behalf of both the Oregon Peak Lookout and the RCD. So just pull that up here. All right, for the lookout, he says the lookout will be staffed most days of the week this month in October. So staffing will continue until it rains or until it becomes cold enough that a number of residents will start using their wood stoves and fireplaces, because at that point they can't they can't determine whether they have a fire or not, if it's a fire start or if it's just in someone's wood stove. So yes, so that that is the update on the Oregon Peak Lookout. Then for the RCD, the Resource Conservation District, sounds like the main thing right now is that they had their first meeting to start the process to consolidate the Yuba and Sutter RCDs. I think Gary has talked about that a little before. They're kind of combining forces, Yuba and Sutter, just to make a stronger RCD for the area. So I think that's going to be a long, what I've heard is it'll be a bit of a long process, but sounds like the ball is rolling. That's great. And then I can actually also add in here too with the RCD that with the Fire Safe Council, I've been having some conversations recently with Lisa Lindman. She's the board chair, I believe is her title, from the RCD. And Creighton and Terry at YWA and Supervisor Fletcher have also been on those. And we've all been talking about kind of a long-term strategy for both the Fire Safe Council and the RCD, you know, finding places where we overlap and how we can differentiate and both kind of grow long-term and complement each other's efforts. So the RCD is getting a needs assessment completed as part of that. That'll feed into the long-term strategy. So we'll certainly keep everyone here updated as that conversation moves along, but that'll be great to yeah, have a partner to work along with long-term. So any questions that I can try to answer from either Oregon Peak Lookout or the RCD, or I can pass them on to Gary.
Did anyone for me?
Was that a question, Jess?
Where's the college got? Where we go?
All right. I think that's just Jesse, I'm gonna mute you. So I think you're just, whoops. It's not letting me do it, sorry. All right, so then moving on to Camdenville Community Partnership. I don't see, yeah, okay. So Kathy let me know she was gonna try to jump on, but she had another meeting. So she sent another report as well that I can read today. Let's see. Okay, so for the Special Needs Defensible Space program, they have been working on completing the defensible space work on. Let's see. So the way the funding worked with that, some came from PG&E, and then the Fire Safe Council matched that this year because it was severely underfunded. So the four jobs that are funded under PG&E are nearly complete, and that should all be wrapped up by October 31st. And then the rest of the homes getting the defensible space work, they have 3 jobs completed and 2 more are in the queue. And those will be wrapped up around November 30th. So what does that make? 9 homes in total. It's something, it's certainly a program we'd love to grow though, because we know the wait list for that assistance in getting defensible space done on people's properties. It's in high demand. So let's see. Okay, and then on the this is continuing from Kathy on the bioenergy plant. A couple fairly big updates. We received our PPA, the power purchase agreement. So that's a pretty big milestone. Pretty exciting that starts the clock on construction of the plant. So I believe they extended it recently. So it's either 2 or 3 years. I don't remember, but that's the window that they have to construct the plant. Now that we have the PPA. And then they also received the final air permit. So that's also another big exciting milestone. So they put out, or they received some bids for EPC contractors, so that's engineering, procurement, and construction of the plant. And they are in the process of scoring and selecting those contractors. There is a conversion permit in process, should be submitted soon to CAL FIRE. And then finally, they are working with Sierra Institute out of Taylorsville on a Build Back Better grant. I don't know the details of that personally, but that'll assist with the development of the business campus that we've talked about on here before. That'll be co-located with the bioenergy facility. So that is all the report I have from Kathy. I think the bioenergy project is still on track to, let's see, we've been saying commercial operation probably early to mid 2023. Sometimes it feels like a moving target, but that's closer than it's been in a long time. So again, yeah, certain folks here we'll connect with and try to get the material out of the woods and fuel that bioenergy plant. So any questions on that before I move on? Thought I heard something, but it might just be background noise. So. Okay, great. Well, next up, we have, I believe I saw both of them here, Eric Sweet and Ryan McKillop from Sierra Pacific Industries. If either one of you want to jump on and give us an update on what you've been working on recently. Glad to.
Yeah, Allison, can you hear me?
Yes, yes. Hi,
This is
Ryan.
Ryan. Yeah, I think Eric's on too.
Great.
Yeah, we don't have a whole lot to report, but obviously we've been preoccupied this summer, most of the summer, and we're waiting for good weather. So the plan, at least, is to, I think, get going on some mastication work east or west of the airport in Brownsville. That would be part of that Brownsville fuel break Stevens grant work. And we've got a contractor we think's lined up to do it, available, and just waiting for the weather to be safe to not start any more fires. And so that'll be working from the airport there and working south down, doing fuel treatment into what's that ridge? Would be Hansonville Hill, and then crossing Willow Glen Road, and then going up Chitterton Ridge headed south. Eventually that fuel break work will tie in, we hope, with some future grant opportunities into Marysville Road. So it's a pretty lengthy piece of fuel break. So I'm happy that if we can get started on that. And we're falling behind a little bit on some of the forest health grant units, the work there, just because of the change of ownership and some things that have happened along the way, and of course the lack of biomass. We've got plenty of material we could generate, but the market is probably going to be pretty pathetic for the next couple of years. So that's a challenge for everybody. So we've done a little bit of recent spray work. We had a spray crew in on Hansonville Hill doing some spray in the fuel break along fuel break, the ridge there. And unfortunately, we've got company-wide, we've got a ton of spray work to do. And so the crew availability isn't, we're just really busy and doing other, like in the burn areas, getting those critical acres done. So we may have to just revisit, hopefully we can get back and get some of those other areas sprayed that are part of the forest health grant, but we're falling behind and the sprouts are growing quickly. So we'll just kind of see, we're going to get done what we think we can get done, but we may have to put some of that off, unfortunately. So, but yeah, I'm happy to say we're hoping to get started here soon. I think SPI is eager to support future fuel break work. We've laid quite a bit of fuel break out on the Tahoe district and the Sterling district, and I think are committed to getting some defensible fuel breaks established and maintained. So that's about all I have.
Awesome. Thanks, Ryan. Yeah, and thanks for all that work you guys are working on. Any questions for Ryan? Oh, go ahead.
Nope, go ahead.
I was just seeing if there were any questions. So go ahead if you have something, Ryan.
No, I'm happy to hear though that we're going to do all that roadside stuff. That's really encouraging, and hopefully we can build off that on the SPI lands.
Yeah, that would be great. I might be connecting with quite a few of the folks on today. I mean, we talk now and then, but yeah, maybe specifically about some of these fuel breaks and larger projects we've been talking about, because kind of tie it all together. That's what we try to do here. All right, well, moving on. Next up, we have another timberland owner, Chai Company, Madison. Okay, full disclosure for anyone who doesn't know, Madison is my husband also, and we share an office, so he's not on the call, he's actually right here. So he's just gonna jump in, and I'm gonna hide off to the side when he gives this little update. There you go.
All right, hi everybody. So yeah, we got a little bit of work going on Chai property in the Yuba County area. We have last couple of years we've done about 700 acres or so of biomass chipping work in the Yuba Foothills area under the Yuba Foothills Healthy Forest Project. We're still actively working on that right now. We have a 300-ish acre unit that we're working on in the Brownsville area. They're kind of between Forsyth Road and New York House Road. So that's been ongoing all summer, and it's going to keep going all winter out there too. We're probably not going to be able to ship too many more chips off of it this year, but we're going to have Keller Bunchers cutting on that project probably all winter. And we have some other biomass chipping operations that we have online that are funded through both Stevens Fund and this Yuba Foothills Healthy Forest Project. Like Ryan was saying, we got some work in the Hansonville Hill, Brownsville area that we'll be working on, kind of along the same timeline that they've got. We've got some work up around Forbstown that we're going to be doing. And we've also got quite a bit of mastication work online that we're going to be doing in the area. We have a project by Cottage Creek Campground over there by Bullard's Bar that we were working on last year that we're going to start back up on probably in November. And I'm also looking at probably doing some work, mastication work up along Oregon Ridge, and doing some fuel break maintenance in that area. So that's kind of the quick rundown of what we got going in the Yuba County area. We're also salvage logging on the Dixie Fire right now, so I guess that's a little bit of a victory for us. I think we're the first ones getting logs out of the woods up there. So yeah, that's kind of the brief rundown. If anybody's got any questions, let me know.
Any questions for Madison? We're doing musical chairs here. Awesome. Well, thank you. Thank you. And thanks to everyone. I think that wraps up our partner reports, unless I missed anyone. I'd like to jump in real quick. Okay, hearing none, we can move on in the agenda. So actually we did have a presentation Jeff Stevens was here, and he just posted in the chat a few minutes ago that he had to go deal with something, so he's not gonna be able to give us the little presentation, but we'll connect with him later. Just real briefly, that was a neat connection I made through Art Craig Mill and another contact of his with Jeff's group. They're called Say Love. It stands for Sutter and Yuba Love, and they do a lot of community service work, like cleaning up along roads. So we thought it could be a great way to collaborate on like roadside clearing projects, for example. You know, they could come in and clean up the trash, and we can come in and clean up the vegetation, and just kind of was going to have him here to talk a little bit more about what they do, but we will have to hold that until another time. So let's see, that means we can move on in the agenda. So next up is the Outreach and Education Committee. And like I mentioned, Beverly is on vacation this week, but she sent a little list of items. I'll read to you now. So let's see, she says we are almost finished with the gathering of calendar photos and content. Graphic designers are working away, and we hope to have the calendars out and ready to distribute by the holiday gifting time, late November, early December. That's our current goal. I think we're still on track for that. So get excited about those. It'd be great stocking stuffers and all of that. Let's see, and then Beverly wants to give a whole bunch of thank yous. Let's see, first up, thank you to Eric Rice from the Forest Service for a big batch of fire hose for the tow chain cover program. And also thank you to Tonio Hernandez. He cut up a lot of that hose into the tow chain covers, as did CAL FIRE Station 61. Another big thank you to them. Let's see, she says the call for those tow chain covers has been constant. She's delivered about 100 covers to various locations in the foothills just last Tuesday. And 1,000 Trails has distributed more than 200 of them in the last few months, which is a lot of trailers if you think about it. So that's great. And then she says she has been receiving calls and requests from a number of other locations like Collins Lake, the Golden Eagle, and Brownsville, and Foothill, Ace Hardware. They keep needing refills for their displays. So yeah, she says they're still moving. She hears a lot of great stories about folks discovering these tow chain covers. So we're going to keep making them as long as there's a need and as long as there is fire hose to go around. So oh, and one more thank you she has to Kurt Korber from Engine 331 in Camdenville. He drove the fire hose down to Dobbins, so she didn't have to go up to Camdenville. So everyone's efforts on that project are greatly appreciated. Beverly sends her thanks to everyone. Let's see, another thank you to the Dobbins Organ House Fire Cadets. They have taken over managing the red flags for the Dobbins Organ House Post Office and the Fire Auxiliary Thrift Shop, which I know both places have had some challenges in getting the flags up and down, just with, logistically. So huge thank you again to the cadets. Yes, and then next up, the Yuba Youth Take Action PSAs. Those PSA videos, I think we sent those around at some point, and they came out early in the summer. Those were featured recently at the Yuba Sutter Film Festival. It was a couple weeks ago. So big thank you to Radu Sava. Some of you, I think, might know him. He was our filmmaker, and he included our little PSAs within his whole collection of films that he presented there. So sounds like a couple of the youth who are in the video were able to attend, and we're looking forward to hearing back from them, see how they were they were received. So that's exciting. And then, all right, and then one final thing here. This is partly from Beverly and partly from me, but right now the Outreach and Education Committee is just Beverly, and then I help out whenever I have the chance, which admittedly I don't have a ton of time, but yeah, Beverly's doing a great job, but she does so much as just like a one-woman show, and yet, as we all know, you know, there's always so much more that we could be doing. And with the work that we all do, it's really important to keep on our outreach and keep getting this messaging out about wildfire preparedness and resilience and everything that we're all working toward. And at least, you know, even just from the Fire Safe Council, we have a lot of neat projects going on currently, as well as new programs that I'll talk about in a minute that'll be starting soon. And so this outreach component will be more important than ever, I think. So all that being said, I would love to grow this Outreach and Education Committee. Would love for some volunteers to sign up. Yeah, it won't take a lot of your time, but if anyone here is at all interested, or you know someone who might be a friend, cousin, coworker, anyone, let me know. Let them know, have them reach out. You can even put something in the chat right now, and then we can talk about it later. But yeah, please do join us and spread the word. This is a committee we can have a lot of fun with. We just need a few extra hands because Beverly is trying to do it alone, but she needs some help. So so thank you in advance. That is all I have now from Outreach and Education. Next up is a board report. So Sean, if you are there, you can jump on in.
Okay, Sean is here, and don't have much to say for the board report. Basically, Allison already stole the thunder about Janine moving on, and like her, wish her well and the best of her future opportunities, whatever she chooses to pursue. You know, a lot of us on this list here are retired, and we know that there's full retirement and partial retirement. I'm glad that she's finally getting to enjoy the opportunities of full retirement. So other than that, we don't have much. There's going to be discussion on we put the wildfire mitigation review program operational procedures and safety on the website a while back in hopes to get any public comment on it. And I don't know if anybody on here had a chance to view that, and it would decide whether they're going to have some kind of public comment, but we're going to try to vote on that later on our board meeting as to accept it if we got enough bodies to do that of the board members here. Other than that, yeah, that's about I have. I'll just turn it over to Allison to go on with the executive report because she's got more information than me. Any questions? And a report.
Excellent. Thanks, Sean. All right, yeah, I'll try to keep it fairly quick here, but I have a handful of things. So first up, last meeting I mentioned the California Fire Safe Council grant that we had applied for, or I think we're applying for that very day. Well, we recently found out that we were awarded that grant, which is super exciting. So it is $100,000 to start a home hardening cost share program. And that funding will go primarily to providing a 50% cost share match up to $2,000 per residence for residents, homeowners to make home hardening upgrades to their homes. So we'll have a list of specific eligible activities, and then residents will get the work done, and then they'll apply for reimbursement. There is also a small piece for data collection in this grant, and we'll be integrating the data that we do collect on things like what type of upgrades people are doing and how much these things are costing. And we'll integrate that with the data platform that was developed last year. I think we've talked about that on here some before. And so over time, this will build up kind of a more accurate picture of like local scale mitigation efforts for the purposes of risk assessment and decision making, and even future funding eligibility. So again, I think that's super exciting. We'll plan to launch that program in January, and the funding runs for 1 year. So we will be keeping an eye out for other funding sources as well, because this isn't a one and done thing. This is just meant to kind of kickstart the program, and we can grow it from there. Let's see, did I have anything else on that? Funding runs for 1 year. Oh, and the neat thing too is I did hear some rumblings recently that there will likely be quite a bit of new state funding coming out soon for home hardening specifically. I mean, we've heard there's a lot of state funding coming out for a lot of things, but I did hear about home hardening specifically. So I think this will set us up well for that future funding to kind of prove a concept. So super exciting on that. You know, start spreading the word, but we'll have our whole own outreach campaign, and you can be a part of it. Just going back to what I said before, you can be a part of it if you join the outreach committee. So all right, moving on. One more thing on grants. I did also submit a concept paper for a grant or concept proposal. It's like first step in the grant application process. But that proposal would help to grow our defensible space program. Right now, in partnership with CCP, we have like I mentioned earlier, we have an underfunded special needs defensible space assistance program. And that program provides 100% cost funding assistance for defensible space. This grant that we applied for, you're only allowed to do 50% cost share, but still, that I think that could be a great help, and that will, I think, help grow this program, and it'll basically be a mirror of the home hardening program also, because as we all know, they go hand in hand. You kind of have to have both defensible space and a hardened home. So let's see, that's all I'll say on that for now. We're supposed to hear back this week on whether we are invited back to submit a full application. And if we are, there's some folks on the call here who I will be reaching out to just kind of put together a more robust application, but more to come on that one. Let's see, also I mentioned the data platform briefly, but I have heard a couple people say recently that they'd like to do a bit of a training on how to use the platform. We've done that in the past, I believe, but it's been a while. And we haven't organized anything yet, but just wanted to like gauge people's interest here. I wish we could do like a raise of hands, but put something in the chat or let me know. Yeah, we'll probably, I see your hand, Pam. Awesome. Yeah, some of us have done kind of a more in-depth training. I think this would probably be maybe not quite so in-depth, maybe just kind of the basics on how to use it. And I mean, if you have questions though, they're really good about working with us on that. So let's see, I thought I saw Jesse's hand. Sorry, the squares keep changing around here. So anyway, yeah, more to come on all that, but I think we'll do some kind of little training. So keep your ears peeled. And then the last thing I have, actually, maybe I'll pause there real quick. Any questions on anything I've talked about so far? No. Excellent. Okay. Yeah, okay, so for the next meeting, November 10th, we are going to have a presentation from the California Department of Insurance. And also big thanks to Ronnie for helping set that up and connect us with the right folks there. That was awesome. So then in preparation for that meeting, they asked us to gather any particular questions or concerns people might have related to insurance. I know that's a big topic for folks. So yeah, questions, concerns, specific topics you want them to focus on, legislation issues, anything like that. They'd love to customize a presentation for our community. So I know we're getting up close to 11 o'clock, but wanted to put that out here, out there right now. We can have a quick discussion if you want, or just feel free to send me your questions as well. But
Unfortunately, I think that presentation is also the same day that they just announced the pre-notice public discussion for the mitigation and hardening regulations. So when I send that out, I don't know if those meetings usually are a couple hours when there's such a controversial topic.
yeah,
So you know, if any of you still can jump in between the two or have the interest, that's just a little conflict that I just became aware of. I'm pretty sure it's November 10th that they picked for that.
I think I remember seeing that. Do you know what time that one is at, Lonnie?
I haven't looked at the email yet, but I'll send it around.
Okay. The thing I saw didn't have a time on it, so I was hoping it wouldn't be
For
9:30.
Lisa's presentation to you all?
To us is at our normal scheduled time, but the one that went around from Department of Insurance.
Okay, so you received that. You just
Yeah,
have to enroll and sign up.
Okay.
It's a big Zoom meeting, so
Okay.
I sometimes just bounce between two things when I have conflicts like that.
Yeah. So you think that might be in the morning as well?
I'm afraid so. It would be nice if they would do it in the afternoon, but we'll see what they because it's probably going to be at least 2-3 hours of discussion if they're anything like the earlier ones that we had with 800 people attending. So,
yeah, so that sounds like a good one to be on, but also we can have a smaller, more personalized one here at our meeting and maybe really ask specific questions too related to our community. So yeah, that's was interesting to see the timing on that one. So well, if there isn't anything jumping out at folks right now as far as insurance questions, we can move on, but please do send me your thoughts, questions, anything, and look forward to that.
Hey, Allison, it's Jason.
Yes, Jason.
Sorry, my connection was back and forth. When is that meeting about insurance, homeowners insurance? When's that show up?
So there are now 2 meetings. One is our Fire Safe Council meeting. We're going to have someone from the Department of Insurance. So that's November 10th at 9:30, just our regular council meeting scheduled time. And then the Department of Insurance also just announced a kind of larger, Ronnie, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but like statewide meeting to talk about insurance, and that is also November 10th.
Oh, good news! I just looked it up.
Yeah,
it is at 1 o'clock.
Oh, perfect.
So it'll probably go all afternoon.
Okay.
There are a lot of interest in this.
Yes.
We initially launched the text at the beginning of the year, maybe in March, and have been meeting with stakeholders and consumer advocates for 6 months. And finally, I think they have modified the text to smooth out all the concerns that the insurers had. And we're going to go forward now, but it will still probably be pretty controversial because we're forcing them to acknowledge risk score and allow challenges from homeowners who don't believe their risk score. So it's still going to be a big controversy. So it is November 10th at 1 o'clock, and it's a virtual workshop until 5 p.m. or until there's no further comments.
Okay, great. Well, that means we can have, if folks want to, you can have an entire day full of talking about insurance. But yeah, 9:30 for the council meeting, 1 o'clock for the larger statewide meeting. And we'll send out info and links to both of those in the meeting notes. So yes, all right. Any that's all I have for today. I know we're 11:02. I want to try to keep these meetings on time-ish and not too long. So before we wrap up, any other questions or announcements about anything? All right. Well, hearing none, we can go ahead and adjourn this meeting. Thanks everyone for being here. Glad to see you and chat with you. We are going to try to have a board meeting after this if we can. We'll see if we have quorum. So if you'd like to stay for the board meeting, you're welcome to. Otherwise, we'll let you get on with your day. So thanks again, everyone, for being here and for doing what you do. We'll see you next time, November 10th. Always feel free to reach out anytime also. So,
Thank you.
take care. Thanks.
See you guys.